Okay, so in today's video, I have an unboxing of a shipment from Vanness. I did go in and cut the box just so it's a little bit easier. So let's take a look. Starting out, we've got a letter from Mike. Derek, good to see you again, because I did just see them in Arkansas. Set that aside. So here's what we have. We have a Lamy All-Star ball pen, and I'll open these up here once I get them. We have a Retro 51 Tornado in Stealth. And then the part I'm really looking forward to is some new paper. I picked up a pad of the Life bank paper. It's 100 sheets. And I looked at this and just didn't get it when I was in Arkansas, but it comes with a sheet of blotter paper in the front. Looking forward to using that some more for just testing and writing. I picked up a pack of the loose leaf Yu-sari just to see if it's the same, writing as it was in the book that I did that I thought was similar to Clairefontaine. I thought having a few sheets of loose leaf would be good for, testing out to compare. And then this is a paper I actually haven't used before. That it's a soft ring, and I'm Kokuyo, and it's a 5mm dot grid soft ring, 80 sheets, and it looks like it's an 80-gram paper. So it has its fly page, but these are, it's a light dot grid, and these pages look like they are perforated, which I look forward to using that, and I'll do a writing sample here once I get one of these new pens out. We'll test with that, and then also a fountain pen. I do plan to do a separate video on probably not the Yu-sari unless I find something crazy in the standalone versus the notebook that I did, but I will do one on the bank paper and on this Kokuyo. So let's get these put aside. So I know I talk a lot about fountain pens, but I realized I didn't have there were some other pens that were missing just to have around the desk for testing and using. And one was a ballpoint pen that's not, kind of a standard one you're going to get free somewhere. So I decided to pick up, sticking with the theme of all black pens, I got the black All-Star. So it does have the aluminum body. So just a standard ballpoint pen to have that. And I want to look into trying out different refills of different sorts in the pens where I can utilize the same pen body but then drop in different refills. So that's something I'm looking forward to experimenting with, and I don't know which ones will fit in the Lamy. I might end up adding another ballpoint pen as well. That's to be seen. So let's get this Lamy box put aside here. And then this, along that same line, I wanted a Rollerball. So this is the Retro 51 Tornado Stealth Edition. And with it being stealth, it is all blacked out. And you can see a theme. I really like the blacked out, between the Estabrook Raven, this Retro 51, the Sailor 1911. I like the blacked out pen look. So this is I owned a Retro 51 pencil that I found the other day, and that kind of put the thought in my head of, I should add a couple more of these in. I have picked up from Gentleman Stationery, which is my local shop, a couple of Oto rollerballs, but I'm trying to upgrade pins. Like, I keep a pin in my Jeep, keeping pins in a couple other places that I wouldn't necessarily want to leave a fountain pen. So that's where I think rollerballs are going to kind of fit in there. And this is another one that changing the inserts out to different types can change the pin or rejuvenate an old pin that you might have sitting around, where you can pop in a new refill. So be sure you follow the channel. I should be doing a video on that soon after I've had a chance to kind of experiment and play through. So let me get the paper here. So I'm going to start just by using, and with these being perforated, that's nice because I'm not as bad about it now. I used to be really bad with a new journal or notebook of some sort. I wouldn't want to write in it because then, if I don't know exactly what it's going to be used for, it would be kind of lost. So I've kind of moved past that. So this is Kokuyo, and I'm going to start with the, let's see, Lamy. So this is the retro. And when I was talking about putting in different inserts, I tend to prefer smaller inserts. And this one I can already tell it's probably like a 0.7 millimeter. Like if I'm using a Pilot G2, I really like the 0.5 millimeter. So I could see putting in a different, smaller insert in here. Once I've had a chance to see what works with what and get a couple of the other refills in, or see if I have any around that I could that would work interchangeably with what comes in the Retro 51. And then now I can write. Let me. And one reason why I got the Lamy is I believe that there are actually some inserts you can put back into these that will turn the ball pin or ballpoint into a rollerball. Because I'll be honest, I don't really like writing with ballpoint pins anymore, but there are times when it's kind of necessary or needed. So let me grab a fountain pen, and then we can do some other writing on this and the bank paper, and I'll be right back. Okay, so I grabbed a couple different pens just to test on here. And starting off, it's the Newton Prospector with the Fresh as a Daisy ink from the Arkansas Pen Show. And this is the Kadachi Grind. And one reason I chose this is this ink definitely shades. And you can see that shading just in that, the word prospector there, of how it's shading across, and I'll pull that up closer to the camera here. This paper is interesting. It's got a little bit of a coating on it, but it's got an audible sound when writing on it. So normally some of the coated papers with my writing, I haven't really noticed the sound along with the paper. So then this one here is the Architect. And this is Ackerman. Dutch Master Vermeer. So you can definitely hear the scratch as you write on this, and I don't mean that in a bad way, but it is something that I know some people don't like that sound when writing. This is my Monteverde titanium nib. This is Kokuyo. Up next, I have a diamine ink, and I did try and grab different inks so that I'm not doing repeats of the same brand. This is the Diplomat Viper. This is Diamine Writer's Blood. And this ink is also showing, Writer's Blood does have a little bit of a sheen to it. So it is showing the sheen there. And then finally, this is my Esterbrook Raven. And this has platinum Chowkuro in it. And I did feel like this matched the theme of the all blacked out pen, so I'll actually set that one over there. But let me get this up close here. So you can see the shading on the, get that focused. You can see the shading on the green. I don't see any kind of feathering or anything on any of these. So far this is a nice paper. It's, I like that it has the perforations. It's a soft ring. It's behaving well with ink brands that I use often. I use the Writer's Blood, has been in that Viper, and that's kind of my carry around the house pen. The pigmented Chowkuro. Now I say there's no feathering, and it was probably just how I wrote it. The A in Raven does have a little bit of a blop to it, but that just might have been an extra drop of ink, because it's not really spreading out. But all these other inks, the Ackerman, the Vanness Fresh as a Daisy, are all showing some variation in color and writing well. So let me, just in time's sake, I'm going to step aside and write this same list on a piece of this bank paper, and I'll be right back. Okay, so I got all that written, and I did go on and use the blotter paper as a wrist rest as I was writing. Some papers are more the oils on your hands can affect some papers. Overall, though, this also is a great paper. Now, I did a sheet of this in the paper sampler video that I did a while back from Gentleman Stationery when he offered that from Fountain Pen Day. But all of these inks behaved very well on here. It's got a good tactile, it's a thicker paper, you can kind of hear, and it all had a good tactile feel when writing on it. Now, the Ballpoint, that's the only one, but that was the same experience of somewhat disappointing on both. But that's, when you're used to now writing with fountain pens or rollerballs, going back to a Ballpoint, at least that Ballpoint is not very pleasing. Some of the lower viscosity ink Ballpoints, it's not the same, but, a new refill is definitely going to have to find its way in there once I figure out which ones will work. But, holding these up side by side, I think both of these are going to be great paper options to use and try and play around with. And both of these, with the bank paper being a top bound and then the Kokuyo being a perforated page, I can do individual sheets to do comparisons, which is a little bit easier sometimes in showing than holding up multiple notebooks when you can put individual sheets of paper side by side. So overall, this was a great shipment of stuff to get from Vanness to be able to play around with. I look forward to using these more, and especially, doing the comparison of like the Yu-sari of the loose leaf versus the notebook. I do want to mention, if you did not see in a couple of the past videos, I do now have a discount code for viewers. If you go to Vanness, you can put in the code DWRDNet and get 10% off of your purchase. There are some exclusions that apply, and I think the items are listed as such on the website of whether or not discounts. So be sure and take advantage of that. And once again, thanks to Vanness for offering that up to people who are watching the channel. It is really appreciated. So I think that's going to wrap it up for today. So hopefully you get a chance to, use some of these papers. And if you have, what's your experience? Leave a comment. Let me know. Of these three, which ones have you used? The Yu-sari, the Life Bank paper, or have you used the Kokuyo? And what do you think about them? Do you like them? Are they some of your favorites? Are there others that I've not done on the channel yet that you'd like to see? Leave all that as a comment so we can see what we might be able to get to use in future videos. If you're new to the channel, consider subscribing so you can see these new videos as they're coming out. And thanks for watching.